What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well. I am most certainly doing well. And in today's stream, we got not a whole lot to go over, but definitely some good topics to touch on and to go over. But please, everyone, before we get into today's stream, what's going on, everyone? If you guys are new to the channel and if you are or returning, please feel free, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel. If you have any comments, questions, or thoughts, please feel free to drop them below. I do want to apologize because we actually just hit 500 subscribers on the channel, and I was kind of a ding-dong, and I kind of didn't even really notice it till we were at like 503. I think now we're like 508 or something like that. So I really just wanted to thank you guys for the constant support. The channel has been going really well. We've been doing this for about a year now, so definitely really do appreciate you guys. Obviously, I couldn't do this stuff without you guys. So yeah, I just really want to thank you guys very, very, very much on that. And in today's stream, I know we ranted off a little bit. In today's stream, we got some good stuff to go over. Of course, I will be going over all of your guys' comments after my rant, so please, if you have any comments, drop them below. But in today's stream, we are going to be going over the CBA, the lockdown. Last stream, it was December 1st, so I didn't really talk about it a whole lot. I do want to touch on a little bit of that today. We know that a report came out for Major League Baseball in regards to the baseballs being juiced and detoned and tighter, so we're going to go over that. Obviously, I love that category of topic. And then obviously, New York Met and Brooklyn Dodger Gil Hodges was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I definitely do want to touch on that. So everyone, let's stop wasting any more time and let's take a little dive. Into it. So I guess getting into the CBA agreement, the collective bargain agreement. As we know, the last collective bargain agreement was set in 1995, and as we know, that is pretty much when everything was set in stone. We know that was the last lockdown, and it was pretty much in regards to similar stuff that is what is going on right now. Unfortunately, on December 1st, the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, was set to expire, and unfortunately, the MLB executives, the commissioners, a lot of the department guys were unfortunately unable to agree with the MLB Players Association on a new deal. Very tough, very upsetting. So obviously, we know that has happened. We know that pretty much the Major League Baseball Players Association pretty much put out one proposal where the executives and the owners pretty much turned it down and wanted something else that was not fond of the players' liking. So getting into the first MLB Players Association proposal, we could see this past December, the Players Association asked for 5 things in an agreement. The first thing is that there is an increase in the minimum salary, so players get paid more, pretty basic. The second is that there is an increase in the competitive balance tax. The third is it changes on how the draft order is decided. So the first two are related to finances, which this is baseball talk, Mets talk. I don't want to get into finances. We could be here all night, although I am interested in that type of stuff. But the third is pretty much changes how the draft order is decided, and I think that's very, very fascinating because when you look at it, right now, the draft order, we know how it goes. If you have the worst record, so I think it was who had the worst record this year? Damn it, I just forgot. Who had the worst? Oh, the Diamondbacks, that's right. So the Diamondbacks had the worst record this year. They will get the first pick. So apparently they're not taking too much of a liking on it. I don't really understand so much of that, but hey, listen, whatever works for them. So they pretty much want to change the draft order. How they want to replace it, I couldn't tell you. But they want to change up the draft order a little bit, which honestly could not be the worst thing in my opinion. So that's that. And the fourth thing is they want to pretty much change service time on contracts. And we know that has been very, very relevant these last couple days, especially with the whole service manipulation. We know that has been getting talked about a lot in Major League Baseball. So that is definitely something that needs to be addressed. And then, of course, the fifth, and I think one of the most important things is that pretty much allows salary arbitration after 2 years instead of 3. Right now, we know that it is 3 years, so you get called up as a rookie, you play 3 years, and then you are eligible for arbitration or pre-arbitration. So they want to change that from 2 to 3. So let's say a guy like Pete Alonso would be getting it next year or this year rather than in 2023 or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the proposal that the Players Association sent to the executives, and they pretty much turned that away, said they did not like it. And yeah, they pretty much wanted other stuff. The Players Association, or I mean the owners wanted to put a bare minimum on how much teams could spend. And right now, I think if you have to look at this, I really think if you have to look at it right now in terms of the executive standpoint and in terms of the Players Association, I think right now, it's really sad. I mean, I go on MLB Network every morning. Like, there's nothing to talk about. They're showing old movies. Hey, listen, I like watching baseball movies. I like watching some throwback games and stuff. But, it's sad. It really is. I really hope we don't see another 1994, 1995 strike. I was born in 2002, so that was a little bit before my time. But yeah, that would be really unfortunate if that is to happen again. Honestly, in terms of everything that went down, I think it is very embarrassing with MLB that, not many other sports really have this issue. And I'm not saying, oh, this doesn't happen, but baseball is really the biggest sport where this is going on right now. And, I think if you look online, if you go to look at MLB player stats, all the guys' faces are blurred out except Buster Posey. All the guys' faces are blurred out. But, if you want a $500, jersey, we could leave that up, whatever makes us revenue. So, listen, it's business, it's finances. Like I said, that's a whole other story, a whole other time. I'm very into economics and finances, so I could probably sit on here for 5 hours and talk about what's right and what's wrong with MLB and the Players Association. But we're not going to do that because I'd probably work myself up, and I doubt I'd probably lose so many interest. Yeah, so that's that. So that's the CBA. Hopefully things can get resolved soon. Now, getting into some other things. The balls. So if we thought that this week cannot get any worse in Major League Baseball, you thought wrong. It definitely could. Right now, we could see Major League Baseball came out with a report saying that they use 2 different types of baseballs this past 2021 season. That is not very good. That is not very good. So pretty much what does this mean that there were 2 different balls used? Well, pretty much as we know, in 2019, I guess we'll go over, a quick history lesson. We know that in I guess, honestly, you could say in 2019, for example, we saw baseballs were flying out of the ballpark. Well, actually not even 2019. I would say the juiced balls that MLB switched up the ball, it's not directly known, but possibly in 2017 is when some of the first reports came out that baseball started to look different. Baseball started to fly more. Offensive numbers were going up. We saw a lot more home runs, which I love. But pretty much a lot of offensive numbers went up. This was 2017-ish around. That's when the first reports came out. In 2018, it continued. 2019, it continued. And then we know that in 2019, Major League Baseball, MLB, purchased Rawlings. Rawlings is the company that makes Major League Baseballs. As you could see, it says it right on the top right here, Rawlings. And Major League Baseball bought Rawlings out. So they started making balls in 2019. And then in 2020, we all know what happened. In 2020, the MLB executives, Rob Manfred, realized, hey, maybe let's start changing up the balls a little bit. And we're going to get into why that is. So they wanted to change up the balls. Obviously, with everything that happened in 2020, that really wasn't possible for Rawlings. A lot of the factories were closed. Really no baseball was played. So pretty much that was unfortunate for them, I suppose. 2021 came on the other half, and they had a mix of the juice balls, the old balls, and the more dented balls, the new ones. And pretty much what Rawlings and MLB, what Major League Baseball wanted Rawlings to do was pretty much make the ball less juice. They wanted to tighten the seams on here. Originally the seams were tightened on here. They wanted to make the seams less tight. And overall, the ball itself less tight. And I guess really whatever inside of the baseball to make it more dented inside and less juice, less hollow, pretty much. So that is what they wanted, right? That's what they wanted. Fair enough. But this past season, since the factories were closed, they didn't have enough time to make them, but then they also didn't really have enough of the old balls. So they used a mixture of both. They used the juice 2017 through 2019 balls, and then some of the half new baseballs. So yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. Now, most people are going to say, well, why did they come up with new baseballs? And our best friend back there, chilling back there, Pete Alonso, pretty much came out with a statement. I want to say it was this past spring training, and a lot of people called him nuts for it. A lot of people gave Alonso, some words about this. Pete Alonso pretty much said that they are changing the baseballs to manipulate the players. They are trying the Major League Baseball, the executives, the owners, they are trying to belittle and manipulate the players. How so? Well, if you look at it, this past season, who are some big free agents on the market? Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, originally Francisco Lindor before if he was still in Cleveland. So we saw a lot of offensive pieces were on the market, eligible for free agency or trade, whatever. So the point is, if you make the baseball less juiced and more, dented inside, harder, pretty much that is going to make the players' offensive numbers go down. So that's going to make the offensive numbers go down. So that's going to make, some guys, whether that's Lindor, Baez, Correa, whatever other free agents they're originally supposed to be this year, that's going to make their offensive numbers go down. But let's say this is a year where there's a lot of pitchers on the market. Let's say 2019, I think. Garrett Cole, Zach Wheeler, Zach Greinke, Justin Verlander. You had a lot of pitchers on the mound. So maybe what would they do? They juice the ball. Try to make, try to make some offensive pieces hit home runs. So guess what? The pitcher's ERA, the whip, all those advanced stats would go up and they would ask for less money. And it's the same for the offensive approach. So that is my big issue right there. Alonso came out with it. I want to say it was March or April of spring training, and everyone kind of gave him crap for it. They said, oh, boo-hoo. No one really cared for it. And honestly, Alonso, he was right. Alonso was right. This whole, he really knew what he was talking about, it seemed. And it's pretty unfortunate. It really is. And, in terms of that's really why they did it, and I don't think it's right. Yeah. So, I mean, as overall, my opinion is just use a regular baseball. Before 2017, just bring that one back. I mean, use the baseball that was being used in baseball for, the first World Series was 1903. I mean, bring back baseballs have evolved so much since with the materials, the stuff inside. But just bring it back. There's really no need to keep evolving the balls. And listen, I don't think it's fair for a batter, a pitcher, or an infielder, or a fielder to have to throw the ball. It increases injuries. We saw a guy like Tyler Glasnow was pretty big this past season on, changing up rules to affect his pitching. In this case, it was spider tack, but it could have also been about the ball. If you're a pitcher and you're trying to get a grip on the ball, let's say this is a juice ball. And then next game, I don't know, they're giving me a ball that's dented and not as juiced. It's going to affect pitcher's velocity. It could affect injury from basic mechanics. I just really don't. I just really do not think it is right. It's really unfortunate that Major League Baseball did this. I'm hoping that Major League Baseball and Rawlings, the manufacturer for baseballs, could really try and get something on top with this because, it really is. It's very exasperating. I don't think it's right to the players. And, you have both of these stories kind of come out in 2 weeks and, kind of just really make Major League Baseball not look too good. It's very unfortunate. We know some guys like Joey Votto was a great example. There was that one game at Citi Field where, the XBA and the exit velocity would say it was a home run. I don't remember what was off the top of my head. But yeah. So, that's really that. Hopefully Major League Baseball can get that resolved soon. Really not right. Major League Baseball right now, the executive standpoint, they're not looking too good. And it's, in terms of this collective bargain agreement, a lockout, the baseball situation, I think right now, majority of the fans and the perspective are siding with the players. So I really think these owners are outnumbered. And usually in this case, being outnumbered doesn't mean anything because the owners are kind of the one that have the final say to an extent. So yeah, I guess we'll just take some time and see what goes on. Hopefully they can try and get some stuff rolling. Otherwise that's it. One big thing that did come out this past couple days was that Gil Hodges former New York Met, and of course, former Brooklyn Dodger, was inducted into the Hall of Fame 2 days ago. And it was honestly about time. Really kind of insulting that he wasn't inducted sooner, not going to lie. Really about time Gil Hodges was inducted. Obviously, he was inducted as a Brooklyn Dodger. He had most, pretty solid player. Let's take a look-see at some of his stats. Obviously, 8-time All-Star, 2 times World Series champion, 3 times Gold Glover. Really good, really slick with the glove. Taking a look at his stats, his career stats, they look pretty good. I think for the most part, he's more being inducted as a manager rather than a player, although he was a great player, don't get me wrong. But the accomplishments he did as a manager, bringing the Mets to, a World Series champion as manager in 1969 when, the Mets, they were a brand new ball team, founded 62, 69. Being a World Series team that young, this is way before the Diamondbacks, the Marlins. They had their World Series win as such an amateur ball club. So I really think Gil Hodges definitely deserved this. Definitely a great player. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to see it. He did pass away, I want to say at least 40 or so years ago. But definitely a great player, had a great career with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And of course, a great career as the New York Mets manager for 2 years. So otherwise, that is really it, everyone. I just wanted to come on here and talk about what is going on with the New York Mets, what's going around Major League Baseball. If you guys do have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free. Do not hold back. Please feel free to drop them below. Obviously, I just wanted to come on here again. Of course, thank you guys for 500 subs. We just did hit 500 subscribers on the channel. I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago, but I guessing I never really came on here to thank you guys. So I am coming on here now to thank you guys. Definitely means the world. We've had this channel for almost a year. So really, really interesting to see how much the channel has evolved since. So yeah, if you guys do have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to drop them below. Otherwise, content, is kind of questionable at this rate just because, Major League Baseball right now, things have been so quiet. Like I said, right now, right now I go on MLB Network every night and, they're playing Brewster's Millions and 42. And don't get me wrong, those are great movies. But, I've seen them a million times and it's kind of like, is there any news going on in baseball? And, I consider myself lucky that, we're having a strike now. Rather than, 30 years ago, right now we have so much access to social media, Twitter, and I think that's one good thing about Twitter. And, one of the few good things about Twitter is that it provides us with quick news, and I really do like that. I think it's good, quick news, especially with the shortened season in 2020, the uncertainty of Major League Baseball being played. It really goes to show how quickly news could spread around Major League Baseball. So, so that is really good. But, let's get everyone rolling in the chat. What's going on, everyone? Sports fan, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Stoney, what's going on? He says, got a question. Has the Mets come down to who they want to be manager yet? So right now, in terms of who will be the Mets manager, things have not really been talked about. They've been eyeballing a couple guys. One guy that has just been kind of brought up today was the Rays first and third base bench coach, Matt Quatraro. He recently just had an interview for the Oakland A's. And it is still questionable if he will accept or decline that. Not really sure what happened there, but he is set to have an interview with the New York Mets possibly as early as tomorrow or today. I really think that'll be interesting. Honestly, I don't know much about him. I know he's been with the Rays organization for a couple years now. He is very, very close with Rays manager Kevin Cash. We know how successful he is. And really, anyone that goes through the Rays organization, we know the joke. We'll take the janitor. We'll take a vendor at Tropicana Field. The Rays are a very, very successful organization. So I really do feel that anyone from a Rays organization, whether it's from the analytical department, a bench coach, an assistant, anyone that comes as a manager, any role that comes from the Rays to the Mets, any position I really feel can help out this team quite a bit. And personally, I'm really excited to see that. I think we're gonna have to see how that goes. I guess he could be my number one choice. Like I said, it's kind of tough right now. There's not many guys that really, stand out crazy. Curtis Granderson was just recently brought up as a name. Haven't really put too much thought into it. Obviously, we know he played with the Mets, and I always come on these streams. I always say, hey, I would love to see a manager that used to be a player, whether that could be a guy like Beltran, whether that could be a guy like, whoever. It's really good to see a manager that used to play the game. He knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to be in a situation. He knows what it's like to be in the field, to be at the plate. He knows the pressure. I like that. Some guys who have never been a baseball player, Luis Rojas, it's kind of interesting because they don't know what it's like. So, yeah, I think we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, Curtis Granderson has also been brought up, another valid choice. What's poppin'? Galapos, what's going on, man? AB, what's going on? Trey, what's going on? Connor, YouTube Productions, Ibean Dose, Kobe, what's going on? Daniel, what's going on? I appreciate it, man. Marco, AB, what's going on? Marco says, can you tell me the possibility of Curtis Granderson being the Mets manager or bench coach? And we did just briefly speak about him. A bench coach could definitely be a possibility. Like I said, I always come on these streams talking about not even so much becoming a manager, but hey, wouldn't it be awesome just, before a game at batting practice, seeing, maybe some former players like Mike Piazza, David Wright, just taking some batting practice, with some guys. Let's say JD Davis is still on the team next year. Have David Wright, take some BP with him, show him how to hit a fastball. Or maybe on the other side, go to the defensive side. We know JD Davis is not the best with his glove. Maybe he could take some, some ground balls at third base, show him how to, turn a double play. I think that could really be something. Or, simply just have a catch in the outfield, talk, get to know each other, get to know what it is like. I really do feel that could really go a long way for these players. I really do. Granderson, he's been at he retired, I want to say 2-3 years ago. I've seen him on like MLB Network. I think he's been calling, some games recently. I don't know about a manager just because he's that rookie manager. The experience is kind of a little nerve-wracking there. Bench coach could definitely be something. So we'll see. Kobe says baseball cannot afford to go through another lockout. Yeah, man, I really do agree with you on that. It's just really unfortunate that it had to come to this. And, I really hope that Major League Baseball does start on time because I think if you look at it, we've already went pretty much more than half of a year with no baseball. 2020 was a disaster. And I just really question, can these teams afford it? We know pretty much that so many teams lost revenue in 2020 because a lot of teams make their revenue. A lot of the teams make their money from the fans. Buying memorabilia online, but a lot of it comes from concessions and fan revenue. So I really do think that's going to have to be something to examine in the future. Unless Rob Manfred is going to bail out all the teams that go bankrupt all of a sudden, we'll see. Trey, what's going on? Trey says, which Met number is going to get retired next? Well, as of right now, I don't think there's any numbers set to get retired. However, I do think there are a couple that could definitely possibly get retired. A couple guys that definitely stand out off the bat. You have Keith Hernandez, number 17. I think he could easily get retired. You have David Wright, number 5. He could definitely get retired. Possibly Jose Reyes. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Who else do we have? We have our buddy Ron Darling, number 12. I believe he's number 12 or 13, one of those two. He could possibly get retired. Last number to get retired was Jerry Kuzmin, 36. This past season, he was retired. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. Currently right now, I think we have a couple good guys in the Mets whose numbers are going to get retired. I think in, 20, 15 years from now, we could see 48 possibly get retired for Jacob deGrom. If some guys like Alonso and Nimmo can really have, an all-star type of, career, which they're on pace for it and continuing it, they could definitely be some options. That is one thing that I really hope the Mets could definitely start to get into more is, honoring the past of this team. And then that's one thing that I really think, listen, I really hate to come in here and just bash the Wilpons, but that is one thing I feel the Wilpons really kind of lacked and neglected was honoring and respecting the past of this team. I feel they really didn't commemorate much of the 1969 Mets. In terms of retiring numbers, the Mets Hall of Fame, statues and monument outside the stadium. We know that this hopefully opening day, they should be erecting that Tom Seaver statue. I think that'll be really interesting. Ibeen Dose says, I'm annoyed at this. Just when baseball was getting good, the owners have to ruin this, of course. Yeah, man, I feel you. It definitely is not very fun. Definitely annoying. I feel you. Elliot, what's going on, Elliot? Elliot says maybe the Yankees were onto something. Maybe the Yankees were onto something when they held off on signing anyone big. Yeah, that's what I thought. We'll be Yankees talk with Hayden for a little bit. Yankees really, I don't know if Steinbrenner and Cashman were just chilling or sleeping or if they actually suspected this would happen and maybe when the lockout was over, they can get guys for a better price, more green. I really don't know on that. That's a really, I really don't think it has to do with that. I really just think the Yankees, Steinbrenner and Cashman just weren't able to go out for anyone yet. We saw they made a couple minor league deals, some AAA arms. They signed former New York Met Jose Peraza. What a legend. Otherwise, things, not really much. I'm trying to think, who did the Yankees sign? Let's see. All right. I think it's really just Peraza, it says. No one really. LFGM, absolutely. Kobe says, I feel like Beltran needs to coach before he's given a short managed team. Exactly. A shot at a managed team, not should hire him as a third base coach or first base coach. A manager isn't important, but they should get coaching staff that the players. Yeah. And I agree with you on that, man, too. The manager is definitely a very important position, 100%. Not denying it. No doubt about it. But I really do feel that, the Mets, they need to work on some of their coaching. Their third base coach this year, Gary DiSarcina, he was terrible. There were so many times where, he didn't, send a runner in. We always heard, why are you stopping Baez at third? Why are you stopping Lindor at third? The ball's still on the warning track. Send him. You have to be aggressive. We didn't see that much this past season. So I really feel having good coaching really goes a long way. Because when you don't have good coaching, whether that's a bench coach, a hitting coach, a pitching coach, it goes a long way. Mets pitching coach, Jeremy Hefner, he's doing a solid job. But the offensive coaches really did not. Quattlebaum, he's back to his assistant to the assistant role. Good. Hopefully the Mets can get an actual hitting coach. And that's another thing. The Mets need a hitting coach. They fired Chili Davis in the quarter half of the season, which in my opinion wasn't the best move. It made half the players distraught, kind of destroyed half the players on the roster. Completely turned around J.D. Davis regardless of his injury. So many players had a good connection to Chili Davis. J.D. Davis, the other Davis brother, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil. So many of these guys really had a different approach. And, I think if you look at Chili Davis, he had that line drive mentality. You hit for a line drive. Don't have to hit for homers. Don't have to hit for ground balls. Don't have to hit for BABIP the other way. Just, try to hit for a line drive. Try to get for some singles, doubles. And obviously you have power, transitions to more. So I think that's really important in baseball. No worries, man. Steven, what's going on, man? Good to see you there. Yeah, I like your profile picture, you and your boy Nimmo. That's pretty cool. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. LFGM. Alonso was right. Absolutely. Marco says pros to signing Escobar. Yeah, honestly, signing Escobar was a pretty solid move, in my opinion. I was honestly, a lot of people were for it at first, and even before it, and I thought it was a pretty solid deal. I like Escobar. I think one of the most important things that kind of really stands out to me is that he's a switch hitter. And I really think the Mets don't have many switch hitters on this team besides Francisco Lindor. Still questionable if they're going to bring back Jonathan VR. Otherwise, I really do value that in a lineup. I think it could really work out well that you have a switch hitter in this lineup because it could really, kind of change the game around. If you want to, have this lefty on righty on lefty stuff, depending on who the new Mets manager is, that could also be important. But I also think it's good because let's, say that they have this 3 pitcher minimum still. And, let's say, the manager, whoever it is, John Smith, wants to put on a lefty to face a right-handed bat. Well, guess what? Escobar's coming up. He could play. He could bat from the left side. I don't know his stats off the top of my head. But yeah. What else do I think is another good thing? Type of utility guy I think is also very important. Obviously, you could throw him at second. You could throw him at third. He could arguably play shortstop. Maybe if Lindor needs a day off or whatever other reason Lindor wouldn't be out there. I think that could also be a thing. I'm pretty excited for that. I think he could definitely be a good top of the order lineup switch hitter. Definitely valuable. I value that a lot in the lineup. Trey says, I guess how long it took to recover from the shutdown in '94 is never forgotten. No fans in 2020 and reduced attendance in 2021. And some thinks a lockout is a good idea. Yeah, exactly what I said before, man. It is not. As of right now, so many teams are just really going to be going through a lot. I think it's really going to affect a lot of these teams. Trying to think. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Baseball literally has the 3 biggest contracts out of the big 3 in the U.S. I would really love to see the minimum. I would really love to make the minimum and ride around with a team that could play catch before a game. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. 100%, And, like I said, I feel this is kind of becoming relevant. A lot of Major League Baseball. You don't really see much sports, so it's kind of unfortunate. Steven says, I thought it was funny how we did not have any offense this past year. Made sense how MLB messaged with the baseballs, but also, to be fair, it was the players' fault too for not performing. Yeah, exactly, man. And it was weird because I'd come on these streams. I'd come on here. I did a couple watch-alongs, not many, but I covered 99. I think I covered like pretty much all of the recaps of all the seasons, of all the series. And I said to myself, it is mind-boggling how you just see the ball die on the warning track. I mean, in the really early half season, we would see the ball, it'd be hit, boom, barreled, up, and it would just die out on the warning track. I mean, Joey Votto was definitely a victim of that a lot. And then honestly, like once the second half came, we just saw baseball started flying. And, and I suspected it. I assume that Rob Manfred is just going to bring back the original baseballs by the All-Star break. That's kind of what they did. But now it seems that they were using they were bringing back baseballs every other day. More like every other inning. They would use the juice ball in one inning, and then going into the third, they bring the dented ball in. So, that's not right. I will say that is pretty annoying. And then Logan says, which type of baseball should they use during games? Use the one that's been used for the past, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. Use those. I don't see what the big deal is. Stop evolving the ball. If you keep constantly changing up offensive production, this is what I don't get is that, it's going to increase injuries. It's going to keep finagling with offense. If you bring back an original ball, listen, this is what I say. Bring back the juice ball and then bring back Spider Tack. That's fair. That's a good compromise. Nah, that's facetious. Being realistic, don't use these juice balls. I got this ball this season. That's what I should do. One video, this ball's from 2021. I got this at Lone Depot Park at the Marlins and Mets game. And then I have a couple back there sitting inside my dresser in my closet that are from 2017, 2018. I should cut those up and examine them and see the difference inside of them. That'd be really cool. That would be pretty cool. Stoney says, and our starting pitching sucked when DeGrom went down. Yeah, definitely that was pretty much the big domino. LFGM, absolutely. So you see the picture that I have with me and Nimmo. This is the real me. Yeah, of course, man. That's pretty cool. Definitely cool picture. Kobe says, do you think the Tigers have any chance at picking up Correa now they have Baez? If not, where do you think Correa will sign? Well, as of right now, I think it's really just going to come to question is, are the Detroit Tigers willing to spend the money? Are the Tigers wanting to go out there and spend? Correa is going to cost a lot. Correa is going to cost around what the Mets played Lindor. Correa is going to cost anywhere from a $275 to, at least $300 million, depending on how much he obviously, how many years he goes for, obviously. So I think that's really going to determine it. Otherwise, I think it could definitely work. You have Jeimer Candelario at third. Oh, no. You have Jeimer Candelario at third. You have Correa at short. Put Baez at second. I don't know if Baez is not going to want to play second because it's not Lindor he's playing with. It's Correa, but they played in the Puerto Rican World Series Classic together, so I don't think that would really have much of an effect on it. But I think that could really be cool. Both of those guys on the team together, absolutely. I think it's just really going to come down to how much money they're going to want to spend. And, and the Tigers are really ready to perform. All their prospects are called up. Casey Mize, Matt Manning. Hopefully, what's his face? The third base guy. Spencer. Who's the Tigers prospect? Hold on. Tigers prospects. Stand by for 2 seconds. Spencer Torkelson, yeah. Spencer Torkelson will likely be playing third base when he gets called up. Still questionable. He could definitely be a first baseman by his body size. The Tigers have been reporting that a lot. So I think it'll be interesting to see what approach AJ Hinch and Avila has in store for Torkelson when he gets called up. And honestly, what could be 2 years at least, max, even a year being short. So I'm pretty interested to see how that goes down for him. How old was he hating before he died, the Mets manager? Yeah, so you're asking about what's his face, Gil Hodges. So Gil Hodges was... How old was Gil Hodges? Gil Hodges was 72 years old when he died. So... Oh, no, he was not 72. He died in 1972. So what year was he born? We're going to do some math on the channel. So 1972, he died, and he was born... Hold on. Stand by. So I want to say he was born 1924. So I'm probably going to get my math wrong. He died at 48. Yeah, that's kind of young. I know he did fight in World War II. Trey says the Votto thing, definitely launch angle. The first hit was a fly ball, while the second was a line drive. Kind of suspicious, though. Yeah, and that's what I thought. And if you're talking about the one at Citi Field, I 100% saw that one. It was the one where Votto was going for the record. I think he had like 6 home runs in a row or something, and he was trying to, I think, break. I think definitely the Reds tie, but maybe even Major League Baseball. And it kind of died out right on the warning track. It looks gone off the crack of the bat, and then it literally just kaputskied. Literally just died out on the warning track. Literally hit the orange barrier that calls for a home run or inside. Yeah, so that was pretty unfortunate. Alexander, what's going on? Alexander says, "Hey, what do you think about the Mets going after Kyle Seager?" Yeah, that could definitely be a nice short-term approach if you sign him. Honestly, I think I said it in my last stream. One team I honestly would like to see Kyle Seager go to is the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers are a team that have obviously been making a lot of moves this offseason, spending $500 million on Marcus Semien and Corey Seager for 10 years and 7 years. Definitely a lot of money there. And he won't be too much, Kyle Seager. Third baseman. So simply enough, he could play right next to his brother, Corey Seager. You have him at third, Corey at shortstop. second Simeon, and first base is Lau. I think his name is Nathaniel Lau. Yeah. Kyle Seager, I think it'd be a solid move for the Rangers. Just sign him to a 1-2 year deal, a short-term deal, because then I think they have their third base prospect, Josh Jung, I believe is his name, and he's been viewed highly. Definitely could be a top prospect, definitely top rookie candidate when he gets called up. So yeah, obviously the Rangers are going to want to focus more on their prospects, their future, which they seemingly are. Then you definitely would go with Kyle Seager as a short-term option. He's a nice left-handed bat. You could throw him in the top of the order. And I think one important thing is that they lost Joey Gallo last trade deadline in 2020. They lost him. Joey Gallo provides a lot of power, a lot of pop. And don't get me wrong, Corey Seager can. Marcus Semien came off a tremendous year where he hit 40-plus home runs. But is Semien going to do that next year is the question, especially with the whole baseball question. And just in a different ballpark. That's my question. And from what I've heard, Globe Life Field definitely has a tough outfield. So that's my question. Kyle Seager, he hit like 36, 37 home runs this year. He provides some pop. He still has some pop in his bat, definitely can hit for some power. So if you need some remedy on the left-hand side for some power, I think Seager could definitely provide. 30 home runs, maybe 25. Hit you an adequate amount. So will he go to the Mets? He could. If anything, it'd be another short-term deal until you wait until Beatty comes up. Otherwise, I don't really have an interest in Kyle Seager on the Mets. Gallipost says, so in other words, 2019 baseballs, ship it special baseballs. Perfect. Yeah, pretty much for the most part. Yeah, pretty much what we've been seeing was great exit velocity, line drive type of style. And then and it's crazy because, I was watching like 2019 highlights the other day for the Mets, Pete Alonso home runs highlights. And he's kind of a tough player because he could just hit the ball anywhere, opposite field. He's not the best example because he just rakes. So getting a guy, I don't know, Conforto, you just see the ball just continue to drive. And then you watch this year's highlights and you just see the ball just die in the warning track. And it's just like, yeah. So I don't know. I think that'll be interesting. We're going to have to see how MLB handles that. We'll see. Of course, guys. Of course. Christopher, what's going on? Ruben, what's going on also? Ruben says, no young first-time manager. Get the Mets some experience. Guy who knows what he is doing. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Obviously, experience goes to an extent a long way with me. I really could hope that the Mets could try to get someone that's experienced, but I think most likely what is going to happen, I think what's going to happen is that, the Mets are probably going to get some nobody manager, and he's probably going to turn out to be really successful. And we've seen that a lot throughout baseball where, the Mets, they've been eyeing everyone. Buck Showalter, Espada, Granderson, even the concession, the popcorn guy. So listen, Mets, they're going after a lot of guys, which is good. But I think realistically what's going to happen is they're going to get some nobody guy that no one's even ever heard of, and he's going to turn out to be really successful. That really happens a lot of the time. You bring in a guy that no one really knows about, and then, yeah. So I think we're going to have to see how that goes. I'm pretty excited for that. Elliot says, I think the Field of Dreams game had the juice baseballs because there were an unusual amount of home runs hit in that game. I also think the Yankees and Mets game on September 11th also had the juice balls. Yeah, and that was the big thing, too, is that they were deciding, if there was, like a Sunday night ESPN game, or if there was a big matchup, like you said, the Subway Series, the Field of Dreams game. I think they definitely most likely wanted to use juice balls to, high viewership. Fans like to see home runs. They like to see the long ball. But don't get me wrong, pitching is great and stuff, and I definitely enjoy it, especially when it's Jacob deGrom and soon Max Scherzer. Unless there's a no-hitter, I really don't care much for, a shutout. It's kind of boring to an extent. Maybe not for me, but for the casual, it may be. They want to see home runs. So hopefully we can see that. But yeah, I agree with you. Those games did. The Tim Anderson walk-off home run, you just see it fly. Where, compared to other times, it would just die out on the warning track or, at the 370 mark. Steven says, hey, Hayden, our next manager is going to be Buck Showalter. Okay, no doubt about it. Showalter's a guy that I am not super crazy on. He has experience, yes. But we saw what he did with the Orioles. He kind of destroyed the Orioles team. He's a dude who is very, very, very anti-analytic. Very anti-analytics. If we thought Rojas didn't use analytics, this dude would not use analytics at all. Don't get me wrong. He's won World Series before. He has the postseason experience. I mean, he has pros to him. I just don't think he's my number one guy. Not saying I don't want him or do want him. He just isn't my number one choice. Alvaro, what's going on? He says, what's up, Peyton? We don't see much baseball down here in Chile, but let's go Mets. Well, I appreciate you tuning in, man. Definitely a far ways for me. I am in Florida, so definitely far ways for me, but very cool, Bill. That is very cool that you were following Major League Baseball really far away. Yeah, that's really interesting. That is pretty cool, man. Definitely really interesting to see fans from really all over the world follow baseball, follow the Mets. I definitely think that will be something, really good to show that Major League Baseball is expanding around the world. I know that, they had the games in London. What else? They had the games in London. They've had games in Japan before. I really think that's important in Major League Baseball. I mean, obviously started off in England, but I think that's very important that it continues to expand the game. Logan, what's going on? Logan says, when will the lockout end? Well, Logan, I hope it ends soon. Obviously, it's hopefully it doesn't go on for a while. I did actually post a poll on my Twitter, or not on my Twitter, on my YouTube community page. I just got access to my YouTube community page. So if you guys want, click on my profile picture or go to my channel, my main channel page, and swipe over to community posts. And I posted a poll pretty much saying, when will the CBA lockout end? And I want to say 4 or 5 options: late December, January, February, March, and then the last option was delayed or no season. So definitely let me know your thoughts and your results on that poll if you want to answer that poll. And if you have any comments on it, I'll definitely be interested to see what you guys have to say. Otherwise, I think it's really interesting. I'm hoping they can get something soon. Like I said, I think most of the fans and the overall perspective and narrative is on the side with the players. So I'm hoping they can get it resolved by around Christmas or the New Year's. I really hope so. What about Curtis Granderson as a hitting coach for the Mets? Could it be possible? Yeah, I think it could definitely be possible. I think it'd be something I'd really like to see. Hitting coach could be possible. Like I said, I'm always down to having these former players, a lot of these guys, veterans who played in Major League Baseball for a while. He has postseason experience, all-stars under his belt. Just take BP, throw around the outfield. I mean, maybe have him play catch with Nimmo or something. You could show him, how to play in more and track a ball with, that type of stuff. Kobe says, happy to see Gil Hodges make the Hall of Fame. It was long overdue. It was. And we'll see the regular player, more so Hall of Famers. I want to say that's released in January or February. So we have some good names on there. Mark's here. What's going on? He says, are you going to spring training? I am actually, if it starts on time. I have tickets for with the 7 Line Army for opening day on the 26th or 27th. I have to look at my ticket stub or my ticket on my phone. It's the Mets and Astros. That'll be really cool. Clover Park, first big time going to a spring training opening day, and then I'll be hanging out at a local sports bar in Port St. Lucie with a lot of the Mets fans. So that'll be pretty cool. Excited to see that. Hopefully get some autos, get some good pictures. Definitely have to show you guys that. In terms of games during the regular season, I live in Florida, so I usually go to Lone Depot Park when the Mets come to town. Maybe I'll see them 2, 3, 4 times a year. I saw them 3 times this past year, 2-1 when they came there, so that wasn't bad. Ruben says, who is on your ideal bench? So I'm assuming you're talking about the Mets bench. In terms of the Mets bench, right now, taking a look at the current roster right now, we know that they recently just brought Nick Plummer up to a major league deal. Kind of surprising. Thought they would have given him a minor league deal. As of right now, I guess Nick Plummer. Still questionable if Khalil Lee will be playing at the major league level or if he's going to be starting off in AAA. In terms of Khalil Lee, this is my thing. Can he hit at the major league level? He didn't show it last year, but he raked in the minor leagues. So we'll see if he can get up there. Do you have him as a 9th, 8th inning defensive, as an 8th or 9th inning defensive type of guy? and then you rely on his glove rather than his bat. I think he could hit at the major league level. He just needs to get more reps under his belt, I feel. So I'm not worried about that. But I think if he's going to be a bench guy, I'd rather him just continue to rake at the minor league level. So leave him down in AAA. Like I said, I'm down to having like 5 guys that are at the major league level playing in AAA. Like the younger guys, of course, clearly. I'm really always down to that. Who else we have? Luis Guillorme, obviously. Luis Guillorme is still on there. Still questionable if you're going to bring back J.D. Davis. Still questionable if you're going to bring back Dominic Smith. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes. I think it could really be something down the line. And, yeah, otherwise, it's going to be interesting. LFGM, absolutely. I know Nimmo is a very friendly guy. I have yet to meet Brandon Nimmo. But one guy that I've heard is probably the most friendliest in baseball is Brandon Nimmo. I know Seth Lugo is pretty friendly. I was actually speaking with his mom on Twitter. We were DMing about some stuff. But yeah, from what I've heard, Seth Lugo and Brandon Nimmo are very friendly guys. I do definitely need to meet my boy Pete Alonso. So hopefully that will happen. LFGM, absolutely, Nick. And baseball's Mier. Kobe says, when the lockout is over, do you think the Mets should go after Bryant? Yeah, so I mean, we kind of touched on Bryant like the last 20 streams, I feel. In terms of going after Bryant, I'd be for it. Not really concerned about the contract. I think right now, if you look at it, he is a nice top of the order bat. He hits left-handed pitching well, something the Mets lacked this past season. He hits low velocity well, something the Mets lacked this past season. And he hits, fastballs really well. As we know, that is my criteria for a Mets disaster. When you're going against a left-handed pitcher who has a fastball on low velocity, that is something that the Mets really got kaputskied on this past season. So I'm really hoping that they could try to go after him. I think that could be a fair deal. Otherwise, we'll just have to see. LFGM, absolutely. Steven says, I hear our Mets are going to be making a heavier play for Chris Bryant when MLB comes back in the rest of the offseason, make some trades for the bullpen, starting pitching and third base. Yeah, I mean, obviously Chris Bryant would be that third base role. I'd be down for it. I think it'd be kind of interesting. Nice 2016 rivalry right there. Lindor and Bryant playing next to each other. But if you get Bryant, I mean, that could really be a really, really, really dirty infield. I mean, you have Pete Alonso at first. His defense has improved amazingly. Questionable who you're going to have at second base, whether that's Escobar, McNeil. Both of those guys' defense are really good. So that is definitely one thing. You have Lindor. I mean, 100 percentile and outs above average. No complaints about his offense. I mean, his defense. And then if you have Bryant at third base, I mean, that's just a really nasty infield. And then, I mean, in terms of the outfield, I think that really helps that Brandon Nimmo worry. A lot of people are worried about Brandon Nimmo playing center field because he plays so far back on the warning track, and that a lot of people are worried about that. Well, if you have, a really good, infield at second and short, you don't have to rely on center field as much. And especially if you have Starling Marte in left, he has some speed, so he could always run over and cover quickly. So I think that's really important. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Like I said, going to see some good moves. Yeah, I definitely should cut open the balls. I think that's what you were saying that too. Sportsman says, quite sweet to see Mr. Hodges finally get in. Next, Met associated first baseman ideally could get in. Could and should be Keith Hernandez, 100%. Number 17 needs to be retired on the Mets, and definitely a Hall of Fame guy. Still questionable if he'll be inducted as a Cardinal or a Met. That's my only unfortunate part. Hopefully he gets inducted as a Met, but still questionable. Steven says, hear you, Hayden, but I wonder if Correa wants to play with Lindor. I don't see why not. I mean, it's not like they were really ever had some issues together. I mean, if it was McNeil, I mean, I could understand why, but I think they got over that. Like I said, in terms of team chemistry, we're going to have a new manager this season. The clubhouse is going to be much more into order. So I'm not worried about players' tensions. And that was the big thing, is this past season there was no clubhouse leader. So, one guy would say something in the dugout and no one would really be able to handle it. So that's the big issue. LFGM, absolutely. Yeah, he was young. Kyle Seager to the Yankees. Okay, that could be fair. You move Gio Urshela. They definitely need a defensive approach. Absolutely. Sports fan says if it takes McNeil and Betty, I think we could add JD and ask for some prospects in the 15 to 20 range, along with J-Ram. Yeah, J-Ram's also another guy that a lot of people are eyeing on. I don't blame that. I would definitely like to see Jose Ramirez on this team. I think he could be a solid guy from the offensive and defensive approach. Definitely a top 5, arguably top 3 third baseman when he has a good season. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would really hate to see give up Brett Beatty. Obviously, J-Ram, how old is he? J-Ram is... Let's type in Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is 29, so he'll be 30 in September. So that's probably going to be your long-term third baseman there. So that means, are you willing to give up Beatty for a more so long-term third baseman? Beatty's younger. J-Ram's in prime age. If we're trading for Ramirez, I would much rather give up a Mauricio or Vientos rather than Beatty. Just because what we've been seeing out of Beatty has been mind-boggling. The raw power, the maturity at the plate to hit for opposite field, it really is something. So I would really – and McNeil, people call me crazy, but no McNeil slander. I mean, this is the dude who, really had one good season, one bad season. You can't judge him on that. And, the whole Lindor incident really messed him up. So we'll see. Defensively, he's not a worry. Offensively, we'll see. And he needs to control his temperament, too. That's one big thing. Steven says, what our New York Mets showed me last year, and this is that they are finally changing our New York Mets culture and team, and no more lull New York Mets. Yeah, I am. Hopefully there's no more lull Mets, because I get tagged that on Twitter like every other day. Yeah, 100% though. LFGM, absolutely. But we got 20 people in the chat. What's going on, everyone? I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, channel's doing well. If you guys are new to the channel, please don't hesitate. Smash that like button. Turn on those post notifications. Tell your friends about this channel. And yeah, otherwise we're doing well. We got 21 people in here. I appreciate you guys. Definitely makes my day. Trey says a baseball should be designed so it doesn't need to be replaced with a new one every time it touches the ground. Yeah, I agree with you on that, man. 100%. Buck Showalter is the guy, Hayden, and he's a New York guy, but a manager as well. He could do it and lead our team, but yeah, of course, man. Listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Like I said, those are my reasonings. Not saying I do or don't want him. He's just really he's not really my top choice. Sports fan says Jeff and Brett Beatty plus filler for J-Ram is a steal, top 5 in baseball, perhaps of need, some control, great contract. Yeah, that's the thing, is how many years of control does Jose Ramirez have? Because that could be one big thing. So let's look at his contract. How many years does he have under his belt? How can I find a player's Jose Ramirez? What is his contract with Cleveland? But right now, he has a 4-year deal, and when was that signed? $26 million guaranteed, really. No. Did I read that right? I did. So he's a free agent in 2024. So you have 2 years of control left for him, so that's not bad. He has a club option in 2022 and 2023 and a $2 million buyout. And he has some bonuses if he's an MVP, All-Star, wins any awards. Yeah, honestly, I think J-Ram, I didn't know he had that many years of control left. Yeah, honestly, that wouldn't be the worst thing. All sports fan Adam, he says, hey, Hayden, hope this lockout ends ASAP for the fans' sake. 100%, man, 100%. Obviously, I don't like going through this. This is really just super miserable, just waking up. Yeah, hopefully they can get this resolved soon. Yes, sir. Talking Mets with Rob. What's going on, man? Yes, Rob and I will definitely be together on, what is it, the February 27th, I believe, 26th for opening day at spring training. We'll be together, so definitely stay tuned for that. Super exciting. Hopefully it will go on for a month or two. Yeah, the lockout, hopefully not too long. LFGM. Trey says, no one really talks about our catcher situation. We need an update too. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's James McCann, and I mean, listen, he's not the best guy. I clearly don't want James McCann, but what other options do you have? Yeah, what other options do we really have as Met fan? I mean, you have James McCann. I'm guessing you're going to wait on him for another 3 years until Francisco Alvarez gets called up. Alvarez is a beast offensively. I think he definitely still needs some time to work on his defense, his framing, because then I don't want another, McCann. Well, obviously, you won't see another McCann nonsense, but still. All Sports Fan Adam says, thoughts on Eduardo Escobar signing. Will he prove to be a hit coming this season? Yeah, so obviously I love the Eduardo Escobar signing. He's a dude that, like I said before, he's a switch hitter, which really goes a long way. Which really goes a long way in my books. I think it's extremely important that you have a switch hitter in a lineup. You have Lindor and him, so that really works out well. Let's say, depending on who the new manager is, let's say his name is John Smith. Let's say John Smith likes to do that lefty on righty, lefty nonsense, which I'm not super crazy about. Besides the point, let's say he does that. That could really work well. Because you could, have Lindor bat righty. Oh, actually, I'm going to bat from the left-hand side, depending on what the stats are and, the situation. Escobar, utility type of guy, very versatile, has some nice speed, I feel. Maybe he can get sent more. So hopefully he can get sent more. Overall, great versatility guy, great contact type of hitter. Definitely, I think Baseball Savant said that if he played in Citi Field, he would have, I think, had like 38 home runs, which is tied as Pete Alonso, which is definitely worrying because Alonso has to lead. But that's really crazy. But overall, Adam, I'm for the signing. I think it's a great signing. Nice short-term deal. Obviously, it's going to show that you're willing to work with Brett Brady and the prospects in the future. I'm all for it, and definitely you could throw him at second. You could throw him in a bench role for a day if you need. So that's good. If Lindor's ever out for a day, he could play shortstop. Always works. Travis, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Daniel, appreciate you tuning in, brother. He says, I would prefer a manager with some experience instead of Beltran and Granderson. Yeah, I mean, experience definitely goes a long way with me. Like I said, a lot, Beltran, Granderson, they don't really have any experience under their belt. So I question. If you're a hitting coach or a bench coach, I have no worry. That's not my number one issue. But I like experience. I like postseason experience. I think that's important because we've been seeing what rookie managers have been doing to the Mets, and it didn't really work out the best. Nick, what's going on? Nick says, who is the newest Met? So right now it is Max Scherzer, and he says, hi, what's going on? As of right now, it is Max Scherzer. Signed a 4-year, $130 million mega deal with the New York Mets. So I think, obviously, massive deal. Huge deal. Otherwise, we know that the Mets signed Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, and, of course, they also signed Starling Marte. So, yeah, those are really interesting. Hopefully, once the lockout ends, they can go after some pitching. And I think that'll be really interesting to see how that really goes to pan out. Yeah, Steven, I actually am familiar with Tyler. Cool guy. Yeah, definitely. That'd be pretty cool to work out in the future, man. Dos, why won't it let me click on the thing? Hold on, guys. My thing is being a pain. It's not letting me click. There it goes. Dos says, what's your favorite baseball movie? That's a good question. My favorite baseball movie. So I've been watching Brewster's Millions and 42 for like the last 20 years because that's all they've been playing on MLB Network. They're great movies, don't get me wrong. But I think they need to start playing some other movies. In terms of my favorite baseball movie, Sandlot's definitely a great classic. Sandlot, can't go wrong with that movie. Great movie. So Sandlot's up there. I like Rookie of the Year. That was a good one. Little Big League. That was a good one. I kind of like Trouble with the Curve. I thought that was a good movie, Trouble with the Curve. Moneyball, I think, is definitely a good one. I was watching that last week, actually. And so, yeah, I think that's a good movie. Number one, I got to go Sandlot. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. Yes, sir. Absolutely. February 27th. Chris, what's going on? Chris says, I hated Mr. Manager take. I want Scherzer, 21. So in terms of my manager take, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's really not that many guys that stand out right now, Chris. Yeah, not many guys that really stand out. Like I said, I think what's probably going to happen is we're going to see some nobody manager come in, and he's going to be really successful. So I think that is likely going to be the big thing for the Mets. I think it's probably going to be some no money manager, and he's going to turn out to be really successful. I mean, and that's really what could seem to can go on with a lot of teams. Analytics sometimes drive me crazy. Play guests that are hot. Yeah, I mean, obviously I understand that, but I think obviously I am for analytics to an extent. We saw it was kind of something that really killed the Mets a lot last season. Rojas was a prime example with his pitching, his bullpen, big issue. So that's something that I think the Mets are really going to have to work on is their analytical depth. The analytical department has really grown quite a bit. I'm going to give Steve Cohen props for increasing the analytical department. I think that's a good. We live in a day and age where analytics are important. You look at all these random numbers. You look at all these random stats, and don't get me wrong, I think they're very, very important. I think they are very important. And some people make the argument, oh, baseball, analytics ruin baseball, where, some make the argument, oh, maybe it makes it more interesting. Maybe it makes it less interesting. Personally, I'm kind of in a mix with analytics. I mean, I used to kind of be somewhat to an extent against analytics. I felt that it kind of ruined the game and it made people less interested, and it kind of really changed the value of players. But honestly, I kind of really have changed my approach a lot since then, just because I've been spending a lot more time on Baseball Savant. And it's a great website, Baseball Savant. Like, if you guys are not familiar with it, I really do recommend definitely check it out. I think it's a great website. I definitely did learn a lot from it. And I'm talking a lot of advanced stats, obviously. So, yeah, I think that'll be pretty interesting. Yeah, absolutely, man. Long stream, of course. How long have you been a Mets fan, says Logan? Yeah, I like these questions. A lot of the personal questions are cool. I was born in 2002. I was a Long Island boy, and honestly, I would say I started following the Mets probably 2005, 2006. But in terms of actually going to games and, buying the memorabilia and that type of stuff, I'm going to say 2008, 2009. That's really when I really started going to games. My first game at Shea Stadium, and then started going to games the first year at Citi Field. So yeah, I really do definitely have had a good history as a Mets fan to an extent. Hopefully, they could start winning some playoff games. But I've been a Mets fan for quite a bit now. My Expo hat, yeah, it's sitting in the closet. I know I have a different hat in each video. No worries, Jake. Appreciate you tuning in, though, man. Yeah, so Rob has the Sandlot. Steven has Sandlot. Chris has the Natural. Jake has Sandlot. Trey has the Sandlot. And Kobe has Moneyball. Good takes. Daniel says, how long do you think this lockout will last for? So as of right now, I really hope this lockout doesn't go super long. I'm hoping it could be resulted by New Year's, around that time, early January. Hopefully it could be resolved because, each day it drags out. It just makes the situation much worse. And he says, where do you think the Mets will finish? Chris is Joe Espada. Yeah, honestly, fair choice there too. Like I said, I mean, him and Showalter have been, I think, the top two right now at the top of the list. Daniel says, where do you think the Mets will finish at the end of the season with the current roster? Well, right now, in terms of your pitching depth, let's take a dive at the Mets roster. Oh, I can't see pictures. Oh no. Because they do that stuff. But, if I want to buy a jersey, no worries. Oh, God, I don't like this. So right now, looking at the, roster, you would have Alonso at first. Yeah, this is way too difficult without the pictures. So, I mean, looking at your pitching depth, I mean, your rotation would look like DeGrom, Scherzer, Carrasco. You have Lucchesi. You have McGill. You have Peterson. Lucchese's going to start off the season on the IL. Hopefully Peterson is off it by then. Bullpen's a little questionable. You lost Loop. That's a big dent. Yennsy Diaz was pretty underrated this season. I'll say that. Drew Smith is back. Thomas Apucky will be on the IL. Oh, yeah, I forgot Taijuan Walker. Yeah, hopefully he could not be fatigued in the second half. Jordan Yamamoto should hopefully be starting. I mean, you have McCann behind the plate. You have Alonso at first. Arguably McNeil or Escobar at second. Lindor at short. Escobar at third or J.D. Davis. You have an outfield of Canna, Marte, and Nimmo. It's not a bad lineup. If the season were to start right now, I don't think we're a first place team. I think the Braves have the upper hand, of course. I mean, the Phillies are not really making many moves. I definitely still question if the Phillies are going to be around a 500 ball club or if, Dombrowski is going to go out and sign some guys. Phillies are close to being a really good team. There are a couple bullpen arms, maybe one rotation arm, and an adequate enough outfielder away. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, like I said, the Mets are not done yet, clearly. But in terms of Daniel's question, if the Mets were to start right now, I think we're at least a second, maybe third place team, arguably, seeing how things work out. Health is the big thing. Stoney says, why do you have so many baseball trim hats? It's driving me nuts. Now the Marlins hat makes me want to fry a fish. I know, I have a lot of hats. I'm definitely going to have to do a hat video this offseason. Says, I used to have respect for Rojas, but then lost my respect, and thank God we got rid of him. Ridiculous, atrocious. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, at first, I said, listen, he likes his players. A lot of the players like him. He started to stand up for his players to an extent, but then it just came to he was not a leader, and I don't really respect that. And yeah, of course, Steven, I agree 100%. I don't think we're done yet. So otherwise, that's really all we really have going on with the New York Mets and everything else. If you guys do have any more final comments, questions, and concerns, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. We did have another awesome stream. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in a lot regularly. It has really, really been really meaning a lot. We know that there wasn't really a whole lot to talk about kind of starting the stream, but you guys dropped some great questions. So yeah, I really do appreciate you guys tuning into the streams every single time. Definitely means a lot. If you guys are not already, please feel free to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. And yeah, otherwise, I did upload a lot of videos recently. My what should the New York Mets do with Robinson Cano video is almost at 800 views. So definitely, please feel free to check that out. Let's get that to 1,000. That would be awesome. Mark, the next stream is, I'm hoping to do these streams weekly. Maybe if something goes on with the CBA, maybe I'll talk about that. Videos, definitely will be uploading a lot of videos soon. But I do really appreciate you guys tuning in to the stream as always. Definitely been meaning a lot. We do got a lot of good stuff planned ahead. Definitely want to do a hat video, 100%. So we're going to call it a stream here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. LFGM or whatever other team you root for. I know we have a lot of non-Met fans in here, which is awesome. So yeah, LFGM, everyone. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya.